Are we ready? Okay. A very good morning, everyone. I would like to welcome to this media briefing. The last time we were here, we addressed the country on the decision we took as the opposition to walk out of plenary sittings. We are here to further inform the country that that position has not changed until we have received a coherent and sequential response to the issues we raised with the government, namely matters relating to justice, to Ugandans that were murdered in 2019 and 2020. Secondly, information on Ugandans that disappeared at the hands of state security apparatus. Thirdly, on issues relating to civic space, the hounding, the persecution of the opposition by regime operatives. These are issues at the core of our convictions as the opposition, and therefore they can never be diluted while we look on. We elected to stay away until government is ready to respond to these issues. I would like to inform the country also that yesterday in the afternoon at 12 o'clock, I had a meeting with the Deputy Speaker of Parliament in his chamber, and he informed me that he had delivered. Remember, in the last sitting we attended, one of the issues that arose was that the regime officials were claiming that they don't have information relating to some of the disappeared persons, their families, their next of kin, and the like. Of course, information we have supplied variously on the floor of the House. That very evening, I supplied the same information to the Speaker's office, and the Speaker invited me to inform me that he had delivered that information to those concerned, and therefore the excuse of no information is no more. So he informed me too that he's also waiting for government to communicate on how and when they intend to formally respond. And when they are ready to respond, he will guide us on the method of response upon which the opposition will make a decision on how to receive the response and the reaction to it consequently. I think we should start speaking in vernacular so that we are understood. The Deputy Speaker, I heard the Deputy Speaker say he is facilitating dialogue. Did that constitute a meeting? He was, I think, alluding to the fact that I had a meeting with him and he made that communication. That's what I know. Otherwise, we've not had any meeting with any other people or persons apart from the meeting I had as the leader of the opposition with the Speaker. And there were the two of us. There were no other people in that meeting. And when I came out, I informed the opposition caucus of that meeting. Thank you, Mr. Kajubi. First of all, when there's no minority report, it does not mean agreement. That is crumb work. Secondly, the committee has held a series of meetings relating to these, our complaints. Their report has never been brought on the floor of Parliament. You need to check your records. The report relating to disappearance of people has never been brought on the floor of the House. for the benefit of your consumers of information, please cross-check your records. That report is not there. But also, the fact that we are raising these matters in another fora and differently attests to the simple fact that nothing conclusive, nothing coherent, nothing consumable to families and the population is there. And therefore, we are raising the tempo of these demands to make sure that something coherently is supplied, not to the opposition in Parliament alone, but to the country. Thirdly, and relatedly, you made an allusion to the report of the Human Rights Commission. I beg that we do not refer to that commission again because this is under capture. So it needs rescue. We shall discuss it in the agencies that needs to be rescued from captivity. It has a very serious leadership challenge, and we shall mount a rescue plan for it after we have dealt with these matters ongoing now. Now, relating to the performance of our PAC committees, true, the rules allow for a member to read a report on behalf of the chairperson in the absence of the chairperson and the deputy. One thing is very clear. The reports being read by the NRM members are reports of Parliament. And they were made under the supervision of the opposition chairpersons and deputy chairpersons. So they are our reports. There is no denial as to their existence and their content. Thirdly, the question of reports of the Auditor General taken omnibus is not our problem. It's the problem of the work methods of Parliament. First of all, the rules are such that the reports of the Auditor General be considered in a period of 6 months. But guess what? We're supposed to receive them in December or earlier in January, but they come way about February, March. And that's the same time within which the House is considering the budget framework paper. And when you consider the budget framework paper, no other committees, standing committees do not work, meaning that we lose over 3 months dealing with budget framework paper. The PAC committees lose 3 months. So they are literally left with only 3 months to work. And you expect them to produce reports of over 70 entities. Take an example of COSASE with over 60 plus entities. PAC Central with a myriad of them. Think about the local governments. There are several of them. So it's a question of what the rules say and what is practically feasible. I think the House needs to reconsider the time given to these PAC committees to produce reports. But also, I hasten to say this, that in the history of these PAC committees, we have had more reports under the kind of opposition than any other opposition in history. As the media, please cross-check. In the next media meeting, you come with an answer. Cross-check. Compare the reports we have produced under the current opposition, juxtapose them with the past. You probably are proud of this current team for a huge job done. But I'm saying that the time has been reconsidered. A number of contradictions in the rules, what the committees are supposed to deal with, the time period, then how to work with the Treasury Memorandum and the attendant follow-ups. It's a bit of a fix, and I don't think any presiding officer would be fair to berate these committees for what they have done so far in the most difficult of circumstances. For each of the demands we made, we need an unequivocal response. Namely, if you're talking about justice for the murdered, an investigation into who killed them, a report on what has been done on the culprits. 3, where is the sense of justice, which is compensation to the families by the regime? That's that kind of chronology. To the disappeared, a report, because they were all arrested by security operatives. in government uniform. They were arrested, they were picked from workplaces, from their residences, by people in uniform. And the families have supplied this information to whoever cared. So we are demanding for their whereabouts. If they were taken to court, which court? Which offense? If they were killed and buried, we need to know. Is them dead or alive is the demand. If they were killed, please report that they were killed. Then we shall deal with the murder as a murder, a cold-blooded murder, and we know how to deal with that. So for each of those, we are making these demands. For those detained without trial, we are demanding for a response for the Minister of Justice to come and explain whether detention without trial is now the sine qua non under his rule, his leadership as the Minister of Justice. Accountability for all is what we are demanding, and accountability precedes justice. I mean, justice precedes accountability. So we do not dictate their response, but we shall determine the efficacy or the acceptability of their response as acceptable or flimsy, and we shall have it rejected and make our demands once. Twasembayo okubeera wano twabategeeza ensonga lwaki twaddamu ne tufuluma parliament. Ensonga ezo tezinnaba kuddibwamu, ensonga ezikwata ku bannayuganda abaabuzibwawo n'abo abaatemulwa wakati wa 2019 ne 2020, ate n'abo abaabuzibwawo abamu bagenda mu myaka 4, abalala 3, waliwo ab'ebiri, n'ensonga z'obwenkanya n'okuwa ekitiibwa eddembe lyaffe mu byobufuzi n'eddembe ly'obuntu okutwaliza wamu. Ensonga ezo teziddibwangamu mu butongole eri ab'oludda lwa gavumenti, era tukyabanja okuddibwamu. Twasalawo nga opposition ng'okutuusa nga waliwo okuddibwamu okutongole ate okumatiza, tujja kusigala nga tuli wabweru wa parliament ng'oggyeko kye twasalawo, kye twakkiriza nti bamemba basobola okubeera mu committees nti bajja kukkirizibwa kugenda mu plenary yawamu. Ekyokubiri, olunaku lwa jjo nasisinkanye Deputy Speaker n'antegeeza nti ebiwandiiko bye yasaba ebikwata ku bantu abaabuzibwawo yabikwasiza gavumenti mu butongole, kubanga mujjukira bulungi nti olunaku olwokusatu Speaker yasaba ebiwandiiko ebyo baali beekwasa nti babirina, newankubadde tubadde tubireeta mu parliament enfunda nnyingi era nga tubiwaayo ng'ebiwandiiko bya parliament ebitongole, naye omulimbo omwerekera n'omutuusa waasula. Ku lunaku olwennyini nabitwalayo mu ofiisi ya Deputy Speaker, era yankakasiza nti yabiwadde abakwatibwako, naye alinze bamuddemu nga bamulambululira biki bye bakkaanyizaako okukola. Bano ababikkaanyizaako batutegeeze naffe. Kinyala okutegeeza eggwanga nti ng'oggyeko ensisinkano yange ne Speaker olunaku lwa jjo, tewannabaawo nsisinkana yonna n'abantu bonna kubaako kisalibwawo oba kikkaanyizibwako. Tulindiridde Speaker ky'anaatulambika kye bamutegeeza kye baagala okukola, ate tulyoke naffe tutegeeze eggwanga ki ekinaddako.